Hello, it's Kinninigan. It's been a while since I hooked up my video camera and used OBS, and it took me a while because this thing had to update because I haven't used it in so long. I forgot my Streamlabs password. I couldn't log into OBS, and this is usually the software I stream with, and I use to go on video. So if there's any adjustments that need to be made with like the audio or the video, I'll find out after I make this video, and I'll make the adjustments. I just wanted to first of all, I took all the videos off my channel about the Freemason. I don't need the headaches right now of exposing them because there's a lot of other things I see going on. I'm not liking it. There are a few big content creators out there right now who are amazingly winding up in my YouTube feed every day, even though I told YouTube I do not want them in my YouTube feed. I'm not interested, is what I said. I'm not naming names, but they keep popping up. I don't like his thumbnails. I'm basically watching Freemason talking about the evil deeds of other Freemason, and to me it's all a joke, and I can't deal with it. Secondly, someone had left a comment on one of the videos I deleted about, in order to do what I do, you're going to need money and a network. Yeah, I have no money. This is why I don't want to expose certain things. In fact, I have a credit card bill that I don't even think I can pay today. It's not a lot, so if you could donate, I would appreciate it. Like $11 short or whatever. Yeah, I'm not doing good financially. But I did want to answer this question on Monakeg asked me, what is the symbol of the Jesus fish? Is that just cover for Enki worship? Is that Christian fish more bullshit they feed us? Actually, it's not. I'll tell you what that is. That is, the Greek word for that is the Ichthus. My Greek is not that good, so here, I'll show you what that is. You're talking about this symbol. Basically what it is, it's a symbol that Greeks used to identify themselves as Christians. It goes back to the idea of the baptism, being baptized by Jesus Christ. And Tertullian, I don't know if he was a Greek philosopher or not, but he was a Greek. In his treatise on baptism, one reason they use it is that water sustains fish, and he referred to Christians as little fishes. It should be fish, not fishes. I don't know who wrote this article. The plural of fish is fish. Okay, whatever. After the image of our Ichthus, Jesus Christ, are born in the water of baptism, nor are we safe or remaining by it. Now at this time, paganism was very big, especially in Greece, obviously. So Christians had to hide, believe it or not. Even in Rome, Christians, even all the way up until the, I would say through the Middle Ages, even in England, it would depend, the royal family, they would go back and forth between Protestant and Catholic all the time, depending on which queen or which king came into power. And if one king wanted to be Catholic, he would crucify all the Protestants. And then when a king or queen came up that wanted to be Catholic, they would, condemn all the Catholic or the Protestants, and it went back and forth. And this is why the Church of England was never really quote unquote Catholic. And I'll remind you of this. Queen Elizabeth herself was seen with the Masonic square and compass when she was coming out of the hospital that one time. Someone had asked me a question about the Pope. I'm going to do a separate video about the Pope and whether or not he shouldn't be a Freemason. I don't know if you know this, the Vatican actually did an investigation into Freemason. Yeah, but not saying the Pope, he could be a Jesuit. But, whatever. I just want to give... So I'll make a separate video about the Pope. There are certain things you need to watch for what the Pope does, and you could tell by mainly what staff he's carrying. I'll explain. You know, wizards use staffs. Well, so do popes. And the Pope has two different staffs. One that he does for Christian ritual, and one he does for Luciferian doctrine, which is the bent staff. And to find good pictures of the bent staff that the Pope uses, I actually had to go to Yandex. Couldn't find it on Google. It's interesting. So anyway, this is what now the word Ichthus actually stands for, in Greek it's Iseus Christos Theo Orius Sutor. The letters actually stand for something. That stands for Jesus Christ of God, Son, and Savior. And here's the symbol here. So this was a symbol that Greeks came up with to identify themselves as Christians, so they could avoid persecution by the pagans. At this time, the crucifix wasn't really used. So that's where the Jesus fish, or what you might call it, Jesus fish is easier to say than Ichthus. And any other, yeah, so that's why, yeah, calling Christians little fish. It should be little fish, not little fishes. Mark 1:16-18, where Jesus, the big fisherman, called fishermen to become fishers of men. As Jesus walked beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and his brother Andrew casting a net into the lake. Going back to the Pope wears a ring on his finger. It is St. Peter casting his net. And that's the Pope's ring. He also has a papal seal that he uses also with St. Peter casting a net on it. So yeah, is some of the fish symbolism hiding paganism? Yes, it absolutely is. That goes back to Dagon, and the Knights of Columbus, for example, are a secret society within the Vatican, and they worship Dagon. I know that for a fact. It also ties into the reason, you know, Catholics are supposed to eat fish on Fridays. It goes, yeah, back to the idea of Jesus saying, "Come follow me, I will make you the fishers of men." So that's why the Greeks adopted the fish symbol as the sign of being Christian. And it ties in, obviously, with the baptism. We are baptized in water. Water sustains life. So people using that symbol in ancient Greece in their defense were not. They wouldn't have even known who Enki was, to tell you the truth. They would have known about the Greek pantheon, and the closest god in the Greek pantheon to Enki would be Poseidon. Poseidon's symbol, obviously, is a trident. So, no, it actually has nothing to do with Enki. We do use Enki's symbol as the medical symbol. That's the twin serpents wrapped around the Cardassius, the twin serpents wrapped around the staff. Any other? Yeah, Ichthus is a Greek word meaning fish. That's exactly what it means. So it became a way for Greeks to identify themselves as Christian. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'll put this link in the description. I'll try to go on video more. It took me a while to get OBS to work again. It had to update. I'll check the audio. And what I mean, I have a fan on in the background, so if you hear like humming noise in the back, because it got hot again. Oh, yeah, but that's basically what that symbol means. Doesn't really have anything to do with, oh, and that's this, the letters inside the fish. That's the Greek spelling of Ichthus. And yeah, it's more in reference to the baptism and the quote of Jesus telling people to become the fishers of men. Now, someone had said, you know, like earlier, they said, I need a big network and money to do what I do to really expose the elite. Well, in my defense, that's what the Vatican was supposed to be doing. That's what Mecca is supposed to be doing. Hello, Islam. Are you fighting the jinn? Is the Vatican really taking care of... Yeah, unfortunately, like in Philadelphia, we're seeing a lot of Catholic churches close down and become abandoned, which is really sad. So, yeah. But the Vatican has a lot of money, I'll tell you that. And they're sitting on a lot of knowledge in the Vatican archives, which obviously the Pope has access to now. And yeah, I will do another video on the Pope and the Vatican and show you what you need to look out for. And for the most part, I think to keep my sanity, I'm staying away from all the modern politics, all the you know, I'm sick of hearing about Trump, everything going on with Democrats. To me, it's one big fucking clown show. And a lot of other people are getting tired of it. There is something we could do about it, but I'm not going to tell you it happened. I mean, read between the lines. What do you think the Second Amendment was written for? That's all I'm saying. Read between the lines on that one. They're trying to put the country into a state where anyone who would rise up and do that, you call them boomers now, right? Like a lot of the old, this is why they wanted all of our children sexually confused. This is why Democrats are constantly fighting to take away your guns. This is why any state that's in the Union should follow the Constitution, meaning you should have the same rights to own a gun in California as you do in Texas. No excuse. Even in Philadelphia, it's hard to get a concealed carry license. It's easier, I mean, but if you're a fucking criminal, if you're MS-13, they don't care. Then you can walk around with a gun and do whatever the hell you want. But God forbid if you're in one of those, like California, and you use a firearm in self-defense legally, they're really going to break your balls over it. And now you wonder why. Because California is the most communist state? Gee, can you put two and two together? Communists do not want people to defend themselves. Either do Luciferians or the secret societies, because we outnumber them. They know it. No one would put up with half of their bullshit if they really knew what they were involved with. But our forefathers knew this. It's like, I'm tired of, you know, seeing on the news every day with these activist judges. People are acting like there's nothing we can do. Bullshit. Look, I know a lot about ancient, it's not ancient, American history. There were times when you ever hear the quote, "You in what army?" That was said by, I believe, Andrew Jackson, when the Supreme Court tried to put a ruling out that he didn't agree with, and he, being the president, told the Supreme Court, well, who's going to enforce your order? You and what army? Because I, as POTUS, lead the army. He's the commander-in-chief. You see where I'm going at with this? These corrupt judges, these federal, liberal, communist, Marxist judges, the only thing keeping them safe is they got a court officer in that room walking around with a Glock 9mm, and that's what keeps them safe. Yeah. So you see where I'm going at with that one. We're not helpless. There needs to be a reckoning in this country. That's what I'm saying, no. And as much as look, Luciferians cannot coexist with pagans and Christians. I mean, Christians and pagans cannot coexist. This is the whole reason why I want to make this video and show you why the Greeks were using a symbol to hide their Christian allegiance in ancient times, because they couldn't coexist with pagans. Pagans would try to kill them, whereas Christians are taught, murder is, well, that's one of the 10 Commandments, obviously. But pagans and Luciferians have no problem lying. That's spreading propaganda. Bearing false witness, the whole J6 Commission. That's bearing false witness against your neighbor. Murder, including abortion, which is the murder of children, which is a satanic ritual, whether you like to hear that or not. Yeah, they will basically break all the 10 Commandments to enforce their way of life, where Christians have to adhere to the 10 Commandments, and we think we're helpless. That's not actually true. I have to look them up. There are parts in the Bible where even Jesus says you have a right to defend yourself against evil. So don't think you can't. I mean, we can go to war for other countries and basically commit legal murder, but we can't defend our own country against tyrants. Bullshit. Yeah, they just don't want you to think that way. So anyway, that's the history of the Jesus fish. Where the Jesus fish is, as this article likes to call them. Yeah, I can't believe they wrote fishes in here. It's fish. So that's why the Pope wears the fisherman's ring. That's why the ancient Greeks adopted the fish symbol. And eventually it would just evolve into the crucifix, which is where the bent staff comes in. Because there's a staff that other popes have been seen with, that they usually have on them when they are about to dictate some Luciferian doctrine, like Pope Francis. Yeah. I was looking for pics of him with a bent staff while he was talking about some of his controversial policies, because I'm sure he was holding one when he was doing it, if you see where I'm going at with that one. So there is some symbolism you could read. I guess I'd have to touch on that too. Sometimes the Pope, when they become Pope, they're given red shoes. I don't know if you knew that. There is some symbolism, supposedly, with red shoes. But the Pope is given a pair of red shoes when he becomes Pope. Some popes choose to wear them, some don't. But I'll do a whole nother video on the Pope. Anyway, if you could support the channel, I'd appreciate it. Try to go on video more. It's not a big deal. I got OBS finally updated, which means I could live stream if I actually wanted to. Should I live stream? How about that? Support my channel. Who knows? I might do a live stream. Maybe today's Friday, right? Maybe Sunday night. I'll do one on the Pope and the Vatican. I haven't live streamed for a while. It's good, and it's a better way to raise funds for my channel. I did pretty well financially. There was a time when I was streaming 4 or 5 nights a week, and then I just kind of stopped. So I'll get back to doing that, because I do have super chat and I do have super thanks on my channel, and that adds up. And of course, people like live streams. A lot of people are streaming nowadays, but I don't really watch too many of them. So yeah, because here, I can answer this though. One of my subs, Mike, sent this to me and asked me, is that a Masonic handshake that the Pope is giving right there? I don't know. I'm looking at it. It's hard to tell. The way that their hands are angled, I can't even get a clear pick of his hand because of the way it's. But it could be. Hold on. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I have allergies, and they are. No, I thought I was going to sneeze. That's fine. Yeah, I have to get some allergy medicine, so that's what else I'll use any donations for. Yeah, so there you go. I answered your question. What is the symbol of the Jesus fish? Yeah, it wasn't It was. They were hiding from the pagans. They weren't honoring the pagans with that symbol. Just saying. And they used it because of something Jesus actually said from Mark 1:16-18, where Jesus tells us to be the fisher of men. And that's where the Pope's ring comes in also, with St. Peter casting the net. I will say this, and I'm sure the Pope knows it too. If you think you're going to become Pope and deceive 1.3 billion Catholics with Luciferian doctrine, you better watch yourself. God works in mysterious ways. And I'm sure the Pope knows that. That's not a position that you're just going to get in like some Marxist Democrat and start spouting, no, it's not, yeah, you got to watch yourself on a spiritual level. And I'm not joking about that. I don't think it's a coincidence that as soon as St. Francis started preaching a lot of his controversial liberal doctrine, that his health started going right down the toilet. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. And remember, they made one pope retire. That was that was Benedict, wasn't it? Ratzinger is his real name. The one they made retire. Popes are not supposed to retire, but he had so much sick shit going on with him, they made him retire. Supposedly he was involved with some pretty profane things within the church. People were catching on, and here's the most important thing. Remember that Pope, it was Benedict. He started to actually look evil. I mean, he could scare children. The Pope shouldn't look that evil. That's what happens when you become an occultist. Evil manifests itself physically on the people. You wonder why these elite rich people look so disgusting. Yeah, evil will manifest itself. And it does physically sometimes. That's why they had to make him retire. And then they put Pope Francis in there. So we'll see how this plays out. Now, everyone's talking about the Pope. I need to remind you of something. The Pope has not even been officially inducted into the Popehood yet. I believe that happens. Could be the 18th. Hold on. Let me look this up. It might be this Sunday, which would make sense on Sunday. The inauguration of the Pope didn't even happen yet. So he's not even officially Pope yet. So don't get too worried. Here, let me just. When is the oh yeah, we got 2 days. Here we go. I found it. He's not even the Pope yet. So just calm down. I'm going to say this. Sonny Houston had a problem on the View talking about our Pope. I don't want to hear anyone that spreads propaganda for Luciferians talking about our Pope or worrying about Catholics. Stay in your lane. Don't worry about our Pope. You can't sit there wishing for the assassination of people. Yeah, basically. Hoping for the murder of MAGA people and spreading propaganda and lies all day. Gossip is how they crucified Jesus Christ, according to Babylonian Talmud. So you're not going to sit there gossiping about patriots and Christians all day, and then all of a sudden you're worried about the Pope. whether he's liberal or not. Get the hell out of here. No, you're not Catholic. Shut your mouth. That's Sunny Houston from The View. She, yeah, friggin' hypocrite. I don't even know if she is a woman. And if she isn't a woman, she's got other problems. So, that's going to happen. Yeah, that'd be a good day to make a video about the Pope, huh? Sunday. 10 a.m., St. Peter's Square. That's when he officially becomes the Pope. Today he is meeting with the diplomatic corps. Friday 6th. Yeah. Sunday will be the official inauguration. 20th he takes possession of the Papal Basilica of St. Paul. So yeah, his inauguration will be this Sunday. 10 a.m. Rome time. And that's when he officially becomes the Pope. So it's kind of like when the president gets voted, November 5th, but he doesn't get inaugurated until January 20th. Same idea. Yeah, kind of the same thing going on there. But in the video, I will show you things to look out for. And it really depends on what the Pope is wearing and what kind of paraphernalia he has with him. And I like his name, though. He picked a cool name, Pope Leo. I'm a Leo. So I like the name. Anyway, if you could support the channel, I'd appreciate it. Like I said, I got not too good. I only got a $25 credit card payment. I can't even afford to make it. It sucks. Otherwise, I'll go hibernate for a few days. I don't know. But yeah, I'll make a video on Sunday about the Pope. And I do have another video that, because it actually was something that I want to put into my book. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. That's a reptilian video, going back to Rome and Nero, of all people, and his golden palace, and the roots of the word grotesque. I'll give you a little preview of that video. In the 1600s, French archaeologists, although they wouldn't have been called archaeologists at that time, I don't think, they were excavating Nero's palace in Rome, and they found something inside the palace, and it was where the word grotesque comes from. There were entities on the walls inside the palace, and they said these things were, they didn't even know how to describe them, what they were. I think I know what they were. Nero was known to be a narcissist, and I believe when they originally did the excavations of Nero's palace, because he has some strange things on the walls in his palace, like mermaids. They write that off. Oh, it was just, yeah. Nero also went to war with Poseidon, where he had Roman legions attack the sea. Yeah, I believe that there were depictions of Alpha Draconians inside Nero's palace, and they have since been removed, and they didn't know how to describe them. And yeah, so I'll do that video tomorrow. That's a reptilian video. That'll actually be pretty cool, because I have to find the articles that talked about that, if I can find them. I was going to make that video a few years ago, and I wound up losing one of my YouTube channels right after I found all the info about it, and I wound up not making it. And remember, the Roman eagle is the symbol of the Alpha Draconian Empire. So anyway, any questions or comments, leave them below. God bless and take care.